Hello, just your viewers, back to another LEGO Legends of Chima episode review. A little bit tired because, man, well, I'll tell you, this episode was pretty boring to me. This is the 9th episode. It's called Gorillas Gone Wild. And, yeah, it's the 9th episode. Basically starts out, I'm going to do my thoughts and, well, a synopsis and then my thoughts in between and stuff like that. Okay, so it starts out, the gorillas are meditating, and I guess when they meditate, they can grow flowers, and their flower is called the tower flower, I believe. And it cuts to an annoying scene with Kragger and Cruller, and I don't know, what was up with that scene? She was like stuck in a tree, and they're like, Kragger, like they were yelling. Like, I hate imitating that, but it sounds so annoying, so you have to portray it with an annoying sound. So they were just like yelling at each other, because she was stuck in a tree, and it was, ugh. But that went on for like 30 seconds. So they cut back like they usually do. They always cut to like a different thing and then cut back and then cut, because it's rushed, and then they I don't know. So they cut back, and they're still meditating, the gorillas, and since Kragger's mad from that scene, he's mad in here, and so he cuts down the tower flower, which the gorillas were on, like Corzan I think was on it. And so the gorillas go berserk, and they start chasing Kragger. They go to the Croc lair and they start fighting. And of course, when they're in the Croc lair, I think they cut to like a lion scene in between, but it was important. And when they're in the Croc lair, like nobody's getting hurt, but they're fighting and like punching and stuff. But nobody gets hurt. They always get like thrown or something, or you could just see them like colliding like on screen. Like a thing would, what is it? The gorilla mech would like touch a Croc, or a Croc would be touching it with a sword, hitting it. So it's like I don't want to see people get hurt, but I want to see some type of conflict, because if there's not anybody getting hurt, then there's no real conflict, and there's nothing really to worry about. If, let's say, the crocodiles attack, for example, here, well, it was the other way around. If the crocodiles attack the gorilla place, like, nobody's going to get hurt, because nobody ever gets hurt here. So, that's kind of what makes me, that's like one of the major problems of this show for sure. That, and of course, the pacing. And they still use the power of plot device, because when they're fighting, for some reason nobody attacks Kragger and Cruller, none of the gorillas, because they're like right in the, like a little bit away from the scene, but they're still in the scene, which is like the Croc lair and stuff, and they're just talking for like minutes, and you can see them fighting in the background like gorillas. But Kragger and Cruller, which Kragger upset the gorillas, they're fine, because that's just how it goes. They don't get attacked or anything, and Cruller's still using that flower of plot device where she kind of mind controls Kragger, or Krieger, as sometimes Laval says. It's kind of weird. Let me see. Okay. Oh, it cuts back to Laval and the lions, and they have like a little search team going on where they're trying to see if they can help out the gorillas, because Laval's like, oh, the gorillas went crazy and stuff like that. And so they fly. They go, okay, so yeah, the lions have a fight with the Crocs, like in an area, like I think it's Gravis and, some other Crocs and stuff like that, and it was boring. Like, the main problem with this episode, I think, was that it was boring. I mean, I'm glad that they didn't do any, like, stupid jokes like they usually do, like potty humor or stuff like that, it was just, I don't know, I wasn't, like, enthralled with this episode. Last episode was it the racing one? Right, the biggest race ever? I kind of liked that episode, because I don't know what made me into it, and it was a racing episode, because at first the racing part was boring, but like at the end I was like, oh wow, this is interesting. But this, they're just like fighting, and like, it's like, they hit the sword, it's always like the same fight, or they're chasing them, so it's like the same thing keeps on happening, and it's just making me more bored of this show. So the lions have a fight with the Crocs, and the eagles and gorillas and lions, like, they team up, and they fly the gorilla mechs over the Crocs, and just more boring conflict and stuff like that. And then at a separate part, I think Laval gets thrown near the water or something like that. So since he can't swim, he gets these little plants, and they make him like kind of fly. What are they called again? Bellow plant, I believe. And Laval is about to fall into the lake again, but these things are kind of like balloons. So if you blow on them, they make you kind of like float a little bit. So he keeps on trying to blow, and it makes his voice get a little bit squeakier, like a balloon. And it's just like he has a little conflict with Kragger, when they're having a conflict, he's like, Krieger is throwing little darts at the bellow plants to make them pop and stuff like that. And again, this is like another huge problem that I hate in this show. Problem solving. They solve the problem. You know how Laval gets away from it? Because Krieger is an idiot, and he takes his time with each little thing. So Laval's floating, and he floats conveniently to a shallow part of the water. Really, that's how they solve problems. They always do that. And plus, if he did fall into the water, Krieger is a huge idiot, and he's literally like metered or like 3 feet away from Laval. So if Laval could literally just kind of grab onto Krieger's because he was on a little ship. So if he did fall into the water, and they probably wouldn't do that if he did fall into the water, they would make him, oh, he can't swim, and then maybe Ares comes and saves him with something. I don't know. And so they always do that. They always solve the problem by doing something really convenient, something that is not out of the box. It's like, oh, since this guy took this time because he's an idiot, everybody in Chima is an idiot. I think maybe, well, no, Ares got caught in like the first, like, it's just, ugh. I don't like any, okay, one of the only non-idiots in this place is, what's his name? The guy who, Shadowwind. He appears in this episode, actually. He has a very small role, but he at least reappears, so they haven't forgotten him. Do more stuff on him. I was glad at the beginning, even though it was still a little bit boring. At first, they didn't have much Laval, and I was like, okay, that's good, because Laval is one of the most uninteresting characters in the show. And not that any of the other characters are extremely interesting, but he's just so boring. He always has the same thing where he gets a little bit over his head, or he fights conflict, or he gets deceived, or whatever. I'm tired of Laval. Shy away from the lines. I want to hear more stuff about maybe Shadowwind. Maybe stuff about, I haven't heard where the rhinos live or whatever. Like, do stuff on them, even though they're not the most interesting people. But, I'm tired of lions. Please, stop with the lions. And same with the crocodiles. Like, they keep on using the plot device and stuff like that. So, Laval gets saved because Krieger's an idiot and takes his time throwing these little darts at him. If I was Krieger, I would just throw them, make him drown, and then there you go. But, of course, nobody gets hurt in the world of Chima. And the gorillas fend off the Crocs. Like, they cut to the gorillas, and you could see their problem was solved by what they were doing earlier, which their problem wasn't solved by doing that. And basically, they're just pounding at the ground, and then it just cuts. Like, it's like a 15-second cut, and you see them pounding at the ground, and you see, like, the crocodiles kind of running away. And then they cut to the end. There's a ceremony. Everybody's happy. LeGrave says, oh, we learned something. And the end. And then they cut to Crueler is stuck in a tree talking to Krieger like in the beginning, because in the beginning Crueler was stuck in a tree and stuff like that, and the little bird, he starts annoying Crueler, and that's it. It's a funny, happy ending. So what did I think of this episode? Well, it was boring. That's really it. I mean, it wasn't creative, and it was boring. Like, the two things that, the Chima episodes, here's the thing, they're not extremely boring, but like this one was. Like, usually I'm a little bit entertained, but this one got me. I was just yawning and stuff like that. And if you could get past that part, it was nothing really new. It was kind of like the same plot as that one where the wolves get mad because they stole the little mother thingy. That's what it reminded me of, because the gorillas were mad and they go berserk, just like the wolves did at the Crocs because they did it. And then, didn't they do that? Or no, the wolves got mad at it. I don't know. But they keep up kind of using similar plot lines, and it's just getting me tired of it. So yeah, this episode, I liked last year's episode, probably the best out of the series, even though it wasn't like the greatest thing ever. And that's really it for this episode review. 9 minutes, crap. And I have the new MMO trailer for the minifigures game online. The MMO RPG came out, and my thoughts on it. Personally, I don't play MMORPGs anymore. I used to play RuneScape, and I just don't have the time to play it because I'm pretty busy nowadays. When I have free time, I do this and Eurobricks. Sorry. And so you gotta really get invested in an MMORPG. So I probably won't be getting it unless they put like a super good minifigure and it's like $20, like they did with LEGO Universe, but it's already confirmed free to play. But they'll probably do something like that. And so, let me see, it's free to play, and it's a lot like LEGO Universe, because you see the problem what happened with LEGO Universe, what I heard somewhere, I think it was Brickset Forums or something, is that even though it was a hit and they got the player base, LEGO didn't want to make their own division of video games or something like that. So they basically canceled that project and started on this one, which is made by Funcom. So they're cheaper, and it's basically LEGO Universe, but now they could also market it with one of their most popular series, which is the minifigures. And it was announced today that the minifigure series is going to be taking a different turn in the future, you know, because they're going to do theme-based stuff, kind of like The Simpsons and stuff like that. So that's interesting. I want to see how that works out, the new update. Maybe they might have like a Simpsons expansion pack, which I think that would be pretty cool. So yeah, that's it for this thoughts video. Minifigure RPG. Probably won't be playing it. I don't know. It doesn't look interesting. Looks a little bit like League of Legends from what I've seen, but even that, I don't know. And it supposedly uses the same stuff as LEGO Universe, like the sounds and stuff like that. And this episode was pretty bad because it was just boring to me. I mean, I give LEGO props for not doing their little fart jokes or whatever with skin it and stuff like that, but meh, that's how I feel.